What is up, everyone? New week, new chapter. Let's begin. My adblock seems to not be working because I see some fucking ads for the upcoming movie. But let's get to the chapter. Chapter 1056, Cross Guild. On the cover page we see some action with our boy Katakuri and Oven against the Germa. We begin the chapter after the fight with Green Bull in the Flower Capital, where the Scabbards are recuperating, if that's even a word. Raizo and Shinobu are mummified. We find out by Kinemon that while Okobore town did get destroyed, got burned, Tsuru, at least, has survived. I don't think many people thought that she actually died. A weird turn of events, Inu and Neko are gonna stay in Wano to protect the country and Momonosuke, while they thought that it was a good idea to assign as a leader of a country a 15-year-old rabbit. They say that she has grown dependable with the adventures with Luffy and shit, but what adventures? She was just in the Whole Cake Island, getting fat eating chocolate. They say it's because Pedro's will lives more in her than anyone else. Pedro, I mean, that guy was dependable for sure. But of course, he's dead, as far as we know. So I guess this puts an end to those carrot for straw hat debates, probably. Unless he hides on the ship again. Sukiyaki then reveals himself to Momonosuke, Hiyori and everyone else there. So the Kozuki bloodline is alive and well, and since he's alive, he can teach them about the poneglyphs, inscribing them, and keep that tradition going from generation to generation. And the Scabbards react like every other person that predicted Tekuyama was Sukiyaki all along, fucking 2 years ago. Except Kinemon. Robin reveals to the rest of the crew that Pluton is in this country. Of course, Frankie is the one that cares about it the most, since his whole life was about protecting those blueprints that in the end he burned, but now he knows that the actual thing does exist. They keep saying that the ancient weapons are named after gods. I think this is significant for some reason. Like in ancient times, there were gods in the One Piece world that created the world. The ancient weapons are somehow connected, and probably the celestial dragons are descendants of those gods, because that's the propaganda, right? That they are descendants of the creators. They ask Luffy if he wants it. I mean, that's a rhetorical question. Luffy is like, nah. Classic Luffy. They do ask a good question though. Why would Oden want to unleash an ancient weapon to the world? Oden said that he wanted to open the borders before Joy Boy came into Wano. And we know that opening up the borders means unleashing Pluton. And since Joy Boy is this legendary figure that's supposed to bring, joy to the world, fight against oppression, the world government, I mean, it would be logical that he would need the aid of the ancient weapons. Shinobu somehow had an extreme makeover, so I'm guessing that Raizo is gonna have one as well, because they were both shrunk after that attack from Green Bull, and the gag with Raizo was always that he was ugly and shit and couldn't get any ladies. Oh, wait, who's that on the background? This motherfucker again? This guy? They say if you repeat the name of an ancient weapon 3 times, a wild caribou will appear. This slimy bitch is always at the right place in the right time. I guess depending on how you look at it, but now he has information about 2 ancient weapons that he's willing to disclose to a certain someone. Now, who that someone might be? I think the most obvious guess would be Blackbeard, because as we've seen, he's drawn to power that can destroy the world, like with Whitebeard's devil fruit. Of course, Kaido and Big Mom are out of the picture. I would think that Shanks has knowledge about those things, so he would be the last big player that would wanna know, At least from the pirate side. I guess the Marines also would like to know, since they had a 10-year operation back in Water 7 about Pluton. We have a brief time skip of a few days, and it looks like the crew decided it's fucking time to get out of this island. It's been 3 years. Coincidentally, Lo and Kid decided to set sail at the same time, so as to avoid confusion and meaningless fighting, I guess, on the way. They decided to each pick a different course. Lo is going north, Kid east, and Luffy and the crew southeast. Is this the first time that the crew chose randomly to go somewhere? I would have to think about that. In the beginning of the Grand Line we met Vivi and we kinda had a set course, but back then you didn't really choose, you just went from island to island. But from the beginning of the New World, we never had this choice. It was all pretty much predetermined after the crew went to Bank Hazard. So it's a breath of fresh air, I would say. It's feeling like adventure again. And now to maybe the most exciting thing about this chapter, we found out why Buggy is now considered an emperor. He got Mihawk and Crocodile working under him. I did think that the majority of the Shichibukai would have to go under his protection, quote unquote, for him to rise to the title of a Yonko. But from the last Shichibukai, before the system got abolished, only Mihawk, I mean, if you had to pick one, Mihawk would be the best, of course, but it seems only him and Crocodile, who was Shichibukai, who was the first Shichibukai. It's funny how he's still relevant. I mean, those three are like three of the oldest characters and they are still relevant to the story and they are considered a big force. Luffy and Zoro are correct in thinking this doesn't make any sense, or maybe they are underestimating the future pirate king, Buggy the Clown. They are called the Cross Guild, and a very interesting turn of events, Marines now have bounties too. That's a first, but it seems to be more of a hype thing, to hype Marines also, than something that's really changing the plot. Because we never really see bounty hunting take place. The only case I can remember was Blackbeard bringing in Ace and hunting Luffy before that. That of course changed the whole trajectory of the story, but other than that, it's pretty much non-existent. Law, the good guy, gives Kid a rubbing of the poneglyph from Kaido, but I guess he did earn it too. Like Law says, we get the confirmation that they forced the Big Mom commander, Snack, to give them one from the road poneglyph of Big Mom, but they don't have the one from Zo, right? I guess Law would have it, and we get one more classic Oda thing where he teases about something in the future. Killer says to Kid that if they wanna stay ahead in this whole race, you know, for the One Piece, they have to get serious about that guy. The guy who is marked by flames. What the fuck does that mean? Here it says that it can either be a burn or a scar shaped like fire. So let's think about the characters that have burns in the story. Tsuru, that we found out in this chapter. Okay, we can cross her out. Oden is dead. Luffy and Jinbei got burn scars from Akainu in Marineford. We can cross this out too. Aokiji, after he fought with Akainu for 10 days back in Bank Hazard for the title of the fleet commander of the navy, I would say he had a, you know, had a scratch, had a little bit of a burn, but would that make any sense? If you wanna get serious about the One Piece, you go fight Aokiji. And one last guy that I can remember is Sabo, who has the scar in his face after the explosion when he was a kid. His face got burned, and we did get some hype around Sabo, but it still does not feel right. It could make sense if they were talking about Shanks, at least if they said just marked, not by flames. Is there anyone that has scar shaped like fire? I can't think of anyone, you know, off the top of my head. I think it would also be a great opportunity to reintroduce Scopper Gaban. Maybe that motherfucker has some fire-shaped scars or something. I did see on Reddit someone talking about Bullet, but I don't think he's a canon character. Luffy has no clue, of course, but Law is suspiciously quiet. One final thing, remember back when we said that the Carrot hype train has gone way off its course and crashed down into the abyss abyss. On the other side, Yamato is going full speed ahead. Yamato says that it's finally time to live like Odin and join the Pirate King. It seems that finally this is the conclusion of the Wano arc. Pretty good chapter, we had some reveals, but it's mostly set up for the future. I guess that's it for this week. Peace out!